recording.
When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down, like a bridge over troubled waters. I will lay me down. When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you, and I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down, like a bridge over troubled waters. I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine, and all your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, and if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled waters. I will ease your mind, like a bridge over troubled waters. I will ease your mind.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Thank you, Barbara and Abraham. Welcome, everyone. Let's take a moment to center ourselves. And as we do, we begin with prayer. I invite you to close your eyes if it feels comfortable, and allow this time to be God's time in your heart and mind with me. Thank you, precious Spirit, for this day. We are open and receptive to your wonderful life. That which is present within us is your being, moving inexorably in all things and in all ways. Help us to remember your presence in all those times of difficulty and even in the times in which we are full of joy. We thank you that in this morning that there is an opportunity for each of us to hold in mind and heart your presence. That we have that ability today, we are grateful. And for those who have forgotten for a moment, your presence is always with them. We send forth our heart of love over that part of their lives, the troubled part. Our love like that bridge, remembering for them until they can remember for themselves. Your presence, Holy Spirit, moving in, through, and as their life. And so we do pray in this day. Amen.
Amen.
So this morning we are blessed to have our daily word. And today is Sunday, October 25th, 2020. And the word for today is listen. In the quiet of my heart, I listen for the voice of Spirit. During the course of a busy day, I may hear all kinds of things, conversations, music, sounds from nature, traffic noise, and even my constant self-talk. Sometimes all that I'm hearing may numb me to more intentional acts of hearing and listening. As I listen, I become aware of the voice of Spirit. Its comforting, guiding presence feels like a homecoming. As I settle into a tranquil environment and begin to relax my body and mind, I create a welcoming space for listening to the assuring voice of Spirit, discernible as my inner knowing. I breathe deeply and I rest in this space. I go about my day listening attentively for the voice of Spirit, expressing through all the people in my life. And from Luke 11:28, blessed rather are those who hear the word of God and obey it. We are truly blessed to be able to have that sense of God's presence, and we can listen to that voice of Spirit and know that presence. Just as we need to know certain things in our life of guidance, I'm going to remind us this next Sunday we will be meeting an hour later because it is a time change of fall back. That's right. Sorry, time change hour backwards. Okay. Yes, this is going out on the internet.
We're okay.
We're okay, yes. So, fall back. Come an hour earlier so you can have the time to be with us at the service for those of us who are here on time. Thank you. And now we continue with our time of meditation. So I invite you to let yourself feel that presence as you close your eyes if it feels comfortable. Abraham.
Let us now enter into a time of quiet reflection. Just close your eyes and allow the body to relax completely. Set aside anything you may be holding and breathe in deeply and consciously. Hold the breath for a moment, then release. tension you may be feeling to be released. Just breathe it out and relax. We allow ourselves to experience the calmness and quietness in this room, remembering that we live in a universe where, in spite of appearances, all is well and there is nothing to fear. Feel the support of the earth beneath your feet. Feel the security of the chair that holds you. Feel the strength and faithful regularity of the breath that courses in and out of your lungs without any real effort or conscious control on your part. Now we remember that we are embraced by a loving Father, Mother God, who guides us and heals us, and at all times and in all places wishes us well. In this beautiful sanctuary, we are protected, and we realize now that we are safe and all is well. Surrounded as we are by the love and favor of a benevolent God, we realize that it is safe to trust in the divine unfolding of the universe and of our lives. We dwell in the center of universal energies that stretch from the farthest reaches of the unknown galaxies of space into the inmost depths of our own being. And those energies sustain us now and will sustain us forever. We trust in God, and we are surrounded with the favor of the Most High. All that we need to live our lives abundantly is now provided for us. Every avenue of healing lies open before us. Now, in the safety and security of this promise, we allow the chains of limitation to fall away, and we experience a new sense of release from the bondage of the past, and an opening into a future of unlimited possibilities. And now, relaxed in our bodies and secure in our minds, let us enter into a few moments of silent meditation. The time is now. This is the appointed time to experience a new birth of freedom. freedom from the past, freedom from fear, freedom from any form of limitation. We move forward in our lives now, confident that we are supported and protected by the God Spirit within us and around us. We love and accept ourselves completely here and now, just as we are. And we are grateful for this life we have been given. By this simple act of gratitude, we acknowledge and declare that this moment in time is perfect, just as it is, and that nothing need to be added to it, nor subtracted from it to make it so. We remember that this day is a gift given out of the bounty of a munificent Creator. Let us treat this day with the consciousness and appreciation that is its due, for it is a segment of time holding wealth beyond measure, laden with the riches of spirit, unfolded moment by moment, breath by breath, in this miracle we call life, the miraculous present, in which we live, move, and have our being. Now, when you're comfortable in doing so, allow your consciousness and awareness to return to this room. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes.
We all come from God, and unto God do we return. We all come from God, and unto God do we return. We all come from God, and unto God do we return. Like a stream flowing back to the ocean, or a ray of light returning to the sun. Like a stream flowing back to the ocean, or a ray of light returning to the sun. We're on a journey from God unto God, up from the world of dust below. We're on a journey from God unto God. For us, there's nowhere else to go. Kulanu me Adonai velav nashuv. Kulanu me Adonai velav nashuv. Like a stream flowing back to the ocean, or a ray of light returning to the sun. Like a stream flowing back to the ocean, or a ray of light returning to the sun. We're on a journey from God unto God, up from the world of dust below.
Good morning, everybody. And it is a good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me and Abraham once again into your lives. I often say into your homes because a lot of times now we are on Zoom. Zoom. My topic is Bridge Over Troubled Waters. And we are indeed challenged these days by troubled waters from all manner of directions. South Pole, North Pole, East Pole, West Pole. But we are not alone, and we are not unprotected. We do have a bridge. And in fact, we are the bridge. We are the bridge over troubled waters. I have always believed that everyone, and I put that in caps, everyone has a purpose and a mission for being here. I consider myself a cheerleader for humanity. The unique and individual expression of those gifts given to us by God do make a difference, must make a difference. I believe that we are angels, messengers of God, workers in the fields, healers of the heart. We are God's bridge over troubled waters, learning to fly free. A commitment to helping others, good works, is the surest path through the secular to the sacred. I believe in a God that leads us if we are listening, a God that helps us if we are focused and committed to making a difference, all leading to a life that is full and powerful and holy. The following poem, written by George Bernard Shaw, is both my favorite and my guide for living my life. It's called True Joy. This is the true joy of life, being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of mighty torch, splendid mighty torch, which I've got hold of for the moment. And I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. If you have not discovered your raison d'etre, your reason to be, if you are not yet on that road, you are missing your miracle. You are missing the divine story you were sent here to write, to star in. Consider the individual gifts endowed with each person. A unique smile, an infectious laugh, a different perspective or approach to life, a prayer, a poem, a piece of art, a well-cooked meal, an inspiring compliment, a readiness to work, to participate, to be a schlepper. How many schleppers do we have in the audience? I'm a schlepper. I know Abraham is a schlepper. To be a safe harbor in the world that can sometimes feel uncomfortable. We All Come From God is a Baha'i song. We've been singing it for years. It reflects the Baha'is' faith, which generally suggests from the revelations of Baha'is, Baha'u'llah, a Persian religious leader and founder of the Baha'i faith, that you are the fruits of one tree. One tree. And the leaves of one branch. We all come from the same ancestor. This is their belief that God perceives us as one tree and many branches, all from the same source. The one body soul, one common humanity, one DNA. In God's mind, there are no differences. There are no blue states. There are no red states. There are no Democrats. There are no Republicans. There are no blondes. There are no brunettes. There are no black people and no white people and no purple people. It all comes from the one body soul. And sometimes the one body soul is sick and needs to be healed. Sometimes the one body soul is hungry and needs to be fed. Sometimes the one body soul is immature and needs to be educated. But all parts of the one body soul needs love and care and attention. We are God's bridge over troubled waters. We are the hands, the fingers, the arms, the voices, the legs, the ears, the heart of God's unending love sent here to care for the one body soul. We are the lights. Let's keep burning and see our way to each other, see our way to God, see our way in God. Lit from within and without, shining with the essence, the strength, the calm, the gentleness, the energy, the determination, the insight, the inspiration, the endurance, the steadiness, the patience, and the vision of God. We create newly every day by just being alive. Every day we create newly, and what we create is a choice that we make every day. We choose what we create in this world. We are responsible for what we create in this world. When we wake up in the morning, thank God, we're still here, able to create, able to shine, able to help, able to listen. Waking up, people say all the time, what's salvation? You are saved when you wake up. You are saved every day that you wake up. You are saved for God's divine purpose, your divine purpose for being here. And too often we underestimate our own power. The power of a touch, the power of a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. That's Leo Buscaglia. Something showed up on my Facebook a couple of weeks ago, and it seemed wondrously relevant to a bridge over troubled waters. One day a teacher asked her students to list the names of every other student in their class and to leave one line beneath that name. And then she told them to write the name of every student in that class and to leave a space underneath that. And then she told them to write in that space the nicest thing they could think about each student in that class. And they did that. And they all turned in their papers. It took the whole period for them to do that. They all turned in their papers at the end of the session. And that Saturday, the teacher took all of those comments and she wrote the name of each student on a single sheet of paper. And then she wrote everything that all of those students had said about each of those students. And on Monday morning, she gave each student their list. And they sat there for a while and they read their list. And then they began to smile. And then they began to think, wow, I never thought anybody thought that much about me. Wow, I didn't know they liked me. Wow. And it went on like that till the end of the period. Now, they never talked about that. She doesn't know whether they talked about that after class or whether they went home and talked about that. She never knew anything about that, but the exercise had accomplished its purpose because her students were sitting there happy and smiling. You see, this was at a very vulnerable time in their lives. Children are very vulnerable, especially in school. Well, that group of students moved on, and several years later, she learned that one of those students had died, had gone to Vietnam and had died in the Vietnam War. And she went to the church because she remembered that student. She remembered that whole class. I don't know whether she did it with another class, but she did it with that class. And as she stood there, one of the people in the service walked up to her, a young man, and he said, "Were you Mark's math teacher?" And she said, "Yes, she was." And he said, "Mark talked about you a lot. Talked about you all the time." And after the funeral, most of Mark's former classmates went together for a luncheon. Mark's mother and father were there and waiting to speak to the teacher. And they said, "We want to show you something." And they took out a beat up and stained piece of paper, which she recognized immediately. And they said, "Mark kept this with him his whole life. He had it with him when he died." And suddenly, other people at the table were taking out their lists. They all had kept their list all these years. One ex-student said that she had hers in her wedding book. Another said, "I have mine in my top drawer in my house." But they all remembered. Some of them took them out of their pocketbooks, some of them took them out of their wallets, worn, frazzled, beat up, stained, but they were all there. She said, one student named Vicky said, "I think these lists saved our lives." That one exercise. That's when the teacher finally broke down and cried. That teacher most likely changed the direction and the perception of those students in that class. And sometimes that bridge over troubled water, see, she was a bridge for those students over troubled waters. Sometimes that bridge can be just something somebody says to you. How many of you know who Reverend Dr. Rainbow Johnson is? Okay. So Rainbow Johnson said something that changed my life decades ago. She said that, and what she said to me really quieted the harsh voices, the haunted rooms, and the fearful memories of a childhood covered with violence and deviant behavior. It has given a raison d'etre to my existence. And what she said to me was, before you are born, you are given several scenarios of how your life can possibly look. And you are given the opportunity to choose which life you want to live. And it's a life of the good, the bad, and the ugly. All of it is there. And you get to choose which one you want to live. So I realized in that moment, if you decide that you have chosen your life, there is so much power in that. There is so much power. I have chosen to live this life. And that decision changed everything. Suddenly, I was no longer a victim of anything. I was no longer any of the things that I imagined, all the negative stuff and all of that stuff and all the stories that you lived with. And I realized that I would not change anything. If I changed anything, I might not be here today talking to you. I might not be married to Abraham Davidson. I might not have been able to save an 11-year-old child from 25 years in prison. It all served to make me what and who I am. And I look back now, and I wouldn't change a thing. Because I grew from that adversity. I became strong in that adversity. We recently completed the Jewish High Holy Days, and I was responsible not only for music, but I was also responsible for the service itself, the presenters, the readers, everything. And I was also responsible, because we were on Zoom for the first time, for making it as spiritual, as inspiring a service as possible. And this was over 4 days. It took everything I am to fulfill my destiny in that. Everything I learned in marketing and graphics and psychology, sociology, everything I learned about human beings and volunteerism. It took me being married to a person who could read Hebrew and was totally willing to drop everything to help in correcting any errors that the rabbi or I might have made. It took the warrior in me to fend off the unnecessary and the ridiculous. It also took a willingness, a patience, a determination, and secret shouting bouts, heard only by my poor husband. Whispered creative name calling, again, heard only by my poor husband. And a huge sense of humor to work with people sheltered in homes with nothing else to do except to pick and point and prod at what it should look like, the service. You see? It took everything I am and everything that everybody else was around me. In the end, I reached back for the spiritual teacher, Florence Scovel Shinn. And what she said was, I now do things which I can do and no one else can do. There are things that you can do that no one else can do. Things you were put here to do. Things people, other spiritual beings, part of the body soul, are depending on you to do and be. You see, we are God's bridge over troubled water. We are the hands, the fingers, the eyes, the ears, the voices to fulfill the promise of God's unending love, to be the bridge over these troubled waters we are now traversing. And the thing is, no one can replace you. Reverend Dr. Rainbow Johnson lived in a cave with her children for almost a year. There is not another single Terry Rainbow Johnson on this planet. I can assure you of that. But I can also assure you that there is not another Reverend Paula on this planet or beyond, anywhere. Neither is there another me or another you. James Dillard Freeman, who I was lucky enough to meet on May 17, 1985 at a Unity Church, autographed my book, Be, which I still refer to. He wrote, "Outside my window a red bird fills the morning with its singing. It does not sing because it knows the answer. Its song is the answer. Above me a squirrel flings itself from bough to bough. It does not leap because it knows the answer. Its leap is the answer. The rose bush in my garden unfolds a perfect rose. It does not produce that rose because it knows the answer. The rose is the answer. Humankind," he further writes, "listen to life, and you will hear the voice of crying, the voice of life crying, be. Be. What shall you be? Be what you were made to be. You were made to be alive. You were made to be joy. You were made to be the sons and daughters of Goddess God, made in the image. The imprint of spirit is in every living cell, in every DNA. Today needs no reason for being. Today is its own reason for being. And you need no reason for being. You are your own reason for being. You have been given all that you are. Be what you are. You have been given all that you do, all that you express. Be the star in your own universe. The world is waiting for your light to shine on them, for your warmth to heat them, to warm them. Be the hero, the heroine in your own story. Reach out and be that bridge over troubled waters for some part of the one body soul of God. And you will create a holiness, a sacredness, a love in this world that no troubled water can impede. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you much. Thank you, Barbara Taft, and I appreciate you so much today. You spoke to my heart. So we take this time now to acknowledge our opportunities to share of our gratitude. And if you would, let's take a moment to simply acknowledge, if you have a gift of heart or love, that you hold it for a moment as we do a blessing. Join me in affirming divine love as me blesses and increases all that I give, all that I receive, all that I have, and all that I am. For God is my source, and abundance is my nature. And for those of you who are online, we appreciate any offering that you might choose to share with us. If you'd like to go to our website, unitychurchofsanmarcos.org, we appreciate you sharing with us.
This is a song we wrote. We actually wrote it specifically for a minister in
San Antonio.
San Antonio. She wanted something upbeat, definitely upbeat. So we wrote this song called "We Are Angels." We are angels, messengers of God. We are angels, messengers of God. We are angels, messengers of God. Workers in the fields, we are angels. Workers in the fields, and the harvest is peace. And the harvest is peace. We are angels, learning to fly free. We are angels, learning to fly free. We are angels, learning to fly free. And the freedom brings joy. And the freedom brings joy. We are angels, healers of the heart. We are angels, healers of the heart. We are angels, healers of the heart. And the blessing is life. And the blessing is life. We are angels, messengers of God. We are angels, messengers of God. We are angels, messengers of God. And the message is love. And the harvest is peace. And the freedom brings joy. And the blessing is life.
Thank you so much for being with us.